In the world of regenerative medicine and lab-grown meat, where engineers and biologists obsess over matrices, microenvironments, and the perfect cell-friendly substrate, an unlikely hero is starting to emerge from the sidelines of the dairy industry: cheese whey. Once treated as a waste product, a smelly, watery runoff from cheese production, whey is now being reconsidered not as industrial burden, but as a potential treasure trove of edible scaffolding materials. Yes, we're talking about growing tissues, whether muscle cells for burgers or skin grafts for healing, on protein-rich frameworks made from the very liquid you thought was just the sad byproduct of making cheddar. Whey proteins, particularly beta-lactoglobulin and alpha-lactalbumin, have an impressive array of properties that make them surprisingly ideal for building scaffolds. They're highly biocompatible, readily form gels and films, and can be processed into spongy 3D structures with porosity tailored for nutrient flow and cellular attachment. In other words, with a little tweaking, these milk proteins can mimic the structural support systems found in living tissue, minus the moral and logistical baggage that often comes with animal-derived matrices like collagen. In regenerative medicine, cheese whey-based scaffolds are being explored for applications like wound healing, soft tissue regeneration, and even drug delivery. When processed properly, through electrospinning, freeze-drying, or cross-linking, whey protein scaffolds provide a biodegradable, non-toxic, and nutritive environment for cells to adhere, proliferate, and differentiate. Bonus: they also break down into peptides and amino acids that cells can actually use as part of the healing process, making the scaffold not just structural, but functional. That's like building a house out of bricks that slowly dissolve into protein shakes for the residents. Now enter lab-grown meat, the field where science tries to mimic the mouth-feel of muscle tissue without needing an entire cow to go with it. For cultured meat to succeed, cells need a matrix to grow on that is edible, affordable, and sustainable. Whey-based scaffolds check all three boxes. They're derived from an existing, abundant food waste stream. They can be engineered to mimic the texture and resilience of animal connective tissue. And perhaps most critically, they're already food grade, which neatly sidesteps one of the biggest hurdles in cultured meat production, creating a scaffold that doesn't have to be removed before the final product is served on a plate. But the value of whey protein scaffolds isn't just structural, it's nutritional too. These proteins naturally contain essential amino acids, good bioavailability, and antioxidant properties, meaning they could enhance the nutrient profile of whatever product is grown on them. Imagine a lab-grown chicken nugget not only mimicking real chicken muscle, but also containing an added dose of complete protein thanks to its whey-based scaffold. It's the kind of circular, upcycled efficiency that sustainability advocates and food tech investors alike dream of. Of course, there are challenges. Whey proteins can be sensitive to processing conditions like heat and pH, and they require careful engineering to maintain structural integrity under the mechanical stresses of growing tissue. There's also the issue of scale, turning artisanal scaffold experiments into mass production reality. And while whey is a dairy byproduct, it's not suitable for vegans or those with dairy allergies, an important consideration for future food labeling and accessibility. Still, the potential is massive. Cheese whey, once a footnote in dairy production, is now being elevated into the spotlight of bioengineering. Its transformation from waste to resource reflects a broader shift in how we think about food systems, not just in terms of nutrition and flavor, but as platforms for health, sustainability, and cellular innovation. So next time you pass the dairy aisle or see someone tossing whey down the drain, consider this. In that translucent liquid may lie the future of healing wounds, printing meat, and building edible tissue from the molecular level up. It's not just cheese that's getting more cultured. It's the entire field of biofabrication, and it may owe more than a little thanks to what used to be left behind.